of a panic attack include extreme anxiety, physical sensations of fear, including shortness of breath, increased heart rate, trembling, and muscle tension. I've learned how to carry the world on my shoulders, figured out how to lift others up with a straight spine and tucked chin, taught myself to carry baggage with calloused palms. Fear ambushed. I'm fine. I'm groggy from a late night of studying, but I'm fine. And then, a second later, I'm not. You're overreacting. Just take a deep breath. Everybody has anxiety. Yes, everyone feels anxious sometimes, but not everyone has anxiety. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, about 4.6% of US adults will experience a panic disorder at some point in their lives. To feel anxious before a big test or performance is normal, but irrepressible, uncontrollable anxiety is not. So today, through the novels On Edge, A Journey Through Anxiety by Andrea Peterson, My Name is Hope by John Mark Comer, the poem Heavy by Ari B. Pulfer, the children's book The Worry Source by Rachel Bright, and articles from Medical News Today, Psychology Today, and The Guardian, more than a deep breath, a program. Because I know that I'm overreacting, but I don't know how to stop. A lovely yummy picnic, a delicious summer spread. Worrysaurus liked it when he knew it lay ahead, but he hadn't gotten far. You see, it hadn't been that long before his busy head dreamed of some things that might go wrong. Some kids really want to participate in class, but they freeze up when they're called upon. Other kids, they want their work to be so perfect that they end up not turning it in at all. Teachers may think that those kids don't care, but in reality, these kids are facing anxiety that they don't know the name of. I wasn't surprised when my second grade report card came home with a big U for unsatisfactory achievement in math. In fact, I even traced over the U in black pen as if to highlight my shame. My parents were stunned. My math homework and written tests had come home nearly errorless, and I hadn't told them about those awful oral quizzes. I feel like Atlas, using my arms to bear the weight of my sadness and my legs to support the pressure of my breath. You could see me from a mile away. Not from the load I am carrying, but the way in which I carry. Fast forward to the year after high school. 19 years old, wrapping up my first year of college, when something inside me changed. Almost overnight. At first, life was good. It was May, I was soaking up the Baja sun, but something inside me turned dark. I was this nervous wreck, stressed out, scared, uptight, wound up, driven to insomnia by these what-ifs that plagued my mind. Suddenly, from nowhere, a lizard skittered by, shouting in a squeaky yelp and pointing at the sky. I heard a storm is coming. I think it's on its way. Well, that really put a cloud above his Worrysaurus day. Symptoms that make students more vulnerable to anxiety when they begin college include a new or increased coursework and workload, new financial stressors, living away from home or perhaps feeling homesick, increased social pressures, and not having their parents. I took Klonopin twice, sometimes 3 times a day. It was no match for my terror. I worried constantly and formulated elaborate plans. How I take leave from my job to care for my ailing child. I took videos of my daughter healthy so I could remember her when she was sick. I neatly folded suicide notes into paper cranes, placed them at the bottom of my bag where they are crushed and forgotten. Under this weight, I am feeling crushed and forgotten. Am I stuck here? I'm trapped. I'm alone and I'm trapped, and I began to think it would be easier to not wake up at all. Don't get me wrong, I didn't want to die. I was terrified of dying. But I couldn't see any other way to escape how I felt. "A storm," said Worrysaurus, "when it's so hot and dry and sunny." But the news became a butterfly that flittered in his tummy. Should he find a place to hide, a cave for shelter? Everyone feels anxious in new circumstances. First dates, job interviews, public speaking engagements, but that's situational anxiety, and situational anxiety fades quickly. If you experience a persistent fear, worry, or dread, you may be one of 40 million Americans suffering from some form of an anxiety disorder. And while I am strong enough to bear these burdens, I think what I'm trying to say is that everything feels so heavy. My chest feels like it weighs 1,000,000 pounds. And I feel pressure on the back of my neck, and breathing takes effort. My mind spins and leaves me dizzy. My hands hang low and heavy and numb, and I can't do this. I can't feel like this. I don't know what to do with myself. My anxiety has never felt like this. It's like drowning. Like holding your head underwater as fear screams through your body. It's like suffocating. Like someone pushing your head in a pillow as you thrash about in violent panic. Anxiety is when fear moves from the tangible to the hypothetical. Anxiety is when the what-ifs of life suffocate your brain. Anxiety is when your chest is tight, your breathing shallow, your head dizzy. Anxiety is a paradox. To carry the weight of the world and still believe that I am not needed. The good news, you don't have to keep feeling that way. While anxiety is one of the most common mental illnesses in the United States, it's also among the most treatable. People have found that they respond well, or almost entirely, to holistic therapies and lifestyle changes. The anxiety is still there, but for the first time in my life, I can manage these bubbling feelings, because eventually I went to an outpatient program, and I attended an individual and group therapy, and for the first time in my life, I have the tools to mitigate these things. For the first time, I can actually live my life instead of clawing my way through it, and for the first time in years, I let myself unpack. At the bottom of my bag, I found suicide notes that read, "I am tired of feeling this way." I threw them away. Because the best way to feel lighter is to lighten the load. But then he thought of something that his mummy liked to say. "Oh, my little Worrysaurus, chase those butterflies away." So he put away his thoughts inside his Worrysaurus head, freed his little butterfly for happy thoughts instead. "I'll chase my fears away. All is well, and all is good, and everything's okay."